Yeah, so essentially, well, for context, like, there's all these different working groups, and the United Soccer Coaches has a Division
Hmm.
three one, and we were kind of chatting through things, and with the new NCAA legislation that's been going on, with new constitutions and all these
Hmm.
things, I think the NCAA has very quickly tried to, can we make meaningful change in certain areas, and it's brought up discussions. And anyways, soccer was a part of it,
Hmm.
and I know there's going to be something that's going to go to the vote for from the Division three membership to extend preseason for field hockey, men's and women's soccer, volleyball, etc., to add a few
Hmm.
more days to preseason. And
Hmm.
anyhow, and I think it brought up a broader discussion about, can we take a step back and maybe rethink what the fall could look like, that would benefit college soccer. And one of the things that our group and I kind of spearheaded some of the discussion was around a fall season model that basically does kind of three things. Um, the first one is, we have the same preseason date that football has. I mean, there's a
Hmm.
count back that the NCAA uses why one sport is given priority on more preparation days than others in terms of like equity and all these things
Yeah, yeah.
that are important to us. Like why some student athletes are deemed, oh yeah, we can spend the money on those athletes to come in early, but not others. So I think if we just said, okay, everybody in the fall comes in using the same count back football has, that would be point one. The second part of it is, I'm going to read from it because I always get tripped up by this one, but allow for countable matches in the fall traditional season to begin on the Saturday prior to September 1st. And then if September 1st falls on a Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, the first date of competition would be August 28th. So essentially, what this guarantees is a 10th weekend of competition, which we
Hmm.
get that like every fourth or fifth or sixth year. And it's so crazy because it really, when you have that extra weekend, it gives you just so much more
So much
flexibility.
latitude. Yeah. Yeah. Anyhow.
So instead of getting that every fifth year, you get it every fall. And
Yeah.
then the third one, which would be, this would have to be done by the championship committee,
Hmm.
but essentially we would play our NCAA tournament over three straight weekends. We'd bump everything back a week. So the
Yeah.
NCAA Final Four would still be essentially this weekend.
Yeah.
They'd play the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight weekend over Thanksgiving, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the first and second round the previous week, which I could understand some of the pushback, because I've heard it. I've been in the room when you propose it. The administrators say, well, we don't want to host NCAA tournaments over Thanksgiving. It's really hard on travel, blah, 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 blah. But
Hmm.
I would always reply, well, Division three football seems to play their NCAA tournament over those weekends, and NCAA basketball tournaments are happening over Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So it can be done. And I think if you do that, you're benefiting all 800 plus men's and women's Division three
In
programs by
one fell
extending the
swoop.
season back
Yeah.
a week. And so the knock-on effect is, like if this proposal was in place this year, instead of playing 60 days of competition for your 17 or 18 games, we'd have 72 days. So
Yeah.
essentially almost 2 full weeks, which
Weeks.
which means less class time missed because you're playing more games on the weekend than
Yeah.
midweek, etc. And instead of playing like us, we had 17 games in 58 days. Now you're playing 17, 18 games with more days of rest.
Yeah.
And I think it has to be conditional on saying to our coaches, like, hey, I think we need to put a hard cap on, maybe it's 18
Yeah.
countable
Yeah.
games, as
Yeah.
opposed to, instead of coaches maxing out saying, okay, now instead of playing 17, 18 games, I'm going to play
Now I
all
can do
20.
20. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No.
And you defeat the purpose, right? Like, if
Right.
if player load is the not the main reason, but it's one of the many reasons, then you can't say, hey, yeah, player load, and then be like, well, I'm going to load the players up now that I have the extra
Yeah.
days, right? And
Yeah, I looked at it, Steve. I think I think when I looked once, I'm going to get my numbers wrong. I wish I had it in front of me, but I looked at it and I like this year, I think we played, I don't know, whatever it was, 12, 13 of our 17 games on 3 days of fewer rest.
Hmm.
And Division One, which has essentially this same kind of
Already, they already,
calendar.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, teams that I looked at like Jay Vidovich at Pitt is a buddy of mine that I follow his
yeah, yeah,
program pretty closely. I think they had maybe 3 games where they had games on 3 days of fewer rest.
yeah,
Again, I'm probably getting some of these numbers wrong, but very few games. Whereas
yeah,
opposed to us, where almost every game is on 3 days of fewer rest. Where
yeah, yeah,
anyway, so I think it's a way to enhance recovery, fewer midweek games, which means less class time missed. I mean, all
yeah,
positive things,
yeah, yeah. I
and it's
oh,
doable
good.
within the bandwidth of Division Three, in my opinion.